Hello, lovelies. It's Blue Moon Goddess, and I know it's been a long while, and I don't do these readings frequently, but I believe I'm being called to do them more. I think when I started, I wasn't quite ready. My gifts were blooming, and I was becoming more confident in sharing it, but I didn't have a true understanding of who I am. And probably a lot of you will relate if you find this reading. As I was going through the twin flame journey, even though I was born very spiritual with gifts and a connection that was different than most people, I was considered the weird child in my family and friends and community. I didn't have a lot of friends actually at that time because I sat in a tree most of my childhood, and that my brothers even built a little chair in the tree for me, and I spent a lot of time alone. I'm confident that a lot of you relate. And I'm so appreciative of my twin flame, my masculine, that even though it was the hardest journey over the last 3 years, it was so hard and so painful. It was a beautiful transformation of transmuting me from, trying to fit into this world. Because if you were like me, and you probably are, you actually had to work to fit into this world. You lost a part of yourself. You lost a part of your soul. And when you go through your awakening, you're reclaiming your soul. You're reclaiming who you are. Why it all happens and why we go through the journey we do pre-twin flame, I don't understand that part yet. Like, why did I have to lose it all? Why did I have to struggle so much? Why do I still have to struggle so much? However, I'm still learning this. Apparently, we chose our path. And as hard as it's been with my awakening journey to myself, and actually I don't want to call it an awakening journey anymore. I call it a remembering, because the more that I am in this, I'm remembering my past here on this earth as a child, and how I was like, oh, I used to do this as a child, or oh, I naturally knew things as a child. And then you start remembering past lives. And I remember as a child remembering past lives, waking up from dreams, knowing how to do certain things. Like, I think I was a heart surgeon in a previous life. And I remember waking up multiple times from a dream that I just did surgery on someone's heart, and all the terminology and all this information I knew. And as I woke up, it shed from me. It just like melted away. And those moments still baffle me, but now I understand. So my latest journey is reconnecting to my feminine energy. And that's something that has just spirit has brought to me in full force. So much learning over the last, I'd say, 6 months. And it is something that I'm very excited to talk about, because it's completely changing my life, completely building my love for myself. When they talk about you have to have self-love, well, that's a beautiful concept, but not many people tell you how to develop self-love. So I think actually my journey is going to go, or my conversations on here is going to go more in that realm. I'll still talk about twin flame journey because I'm in it, but I'm in the inner union part, and I will tell you that it's a beautiful time, because that is when you will really just self-develop yourself, just concentrate on yourself, and you'll still love your twin, but you might have thoughts of, well, do I want this? You know that you don't want to change him, or you want him to change, but it's not your job to change him. I'm not at the union where we're together all the time, so I don't know where it can go, but I will say that I'm at the point of, I appreciate the journey. I appreciate how it has awakened me to my remembrance and embodiment of my truest self. And it's still a journey. I'm still on it. And I love, love, love him deeply for it. And I actually, removed him from his pedestal. I had him on as like my ultimate lover, my ultimate person I'm supposed to be with. And now he's this person that I relate to. He's almost like my shadow side, because now when I look at him, I'm like, gosh, I love you so much, and I see your pain. And his pain matches my pain. So in that way, it's triggering me to see him and think about him and be in his energy, because it matches mine so much that as I'm growing and I can separate from it, it kind of reminds me, oh, you still have this, you still have this work to do. Whereas I recently met a soulmate, and he was someone that, at least from the small encounter we had, has a strong masculine presence and confidence. And I don't see his pain yet, but I don't know him well enough. So, and when I try to read his energy, he's too far. So I don't believe he's someone that's going to be in my life that much. I think it was just an experience, and I appreciate that experience of being able to attract someone of such high caliber and masculinity and beauty, that he embraced all of it. So I'm enjoying my journey at this moment. In the 3D, my life is difficult. Things did fall apart, and I'm working on rebuilding that, but I do feel myself being pulled in another direction. And that is very hard to let go and trust, Spirit, that, everything I've been working on for years, for 20, 30 years of how I've lived my life, is going to be completely different, and you don't know. So I'm trying to learn how to dive into the confidence in the uncertainty. The only thing I'm certain of at this moment is that God or Source is not obeying me. I think I was raised in a society where you pray, you tell God what you want, and then he makes it happen. Well, that is not 100% the way it really works, right? If you're here for a purpose, eventually God's going to be like, okay, Source, Universe, however you refer to him, it's going to be like, it's time for you to live your purpose. And they will maneuver your life, I believe, until you obey. It's kind of like, what's the Bible story? Was it Jonah who got swallowed by the whale because he was not wanting to obey what he heard from God, and he tried to run away from his purpose, and he dealt with hardships until he had to obey and did it, and it was a blessing on him and others. So I don't know, maybe something to think about if you're going through hardships like I am. Maybe it's because you're not following your calling. So I did decide to pull up a few cards today. I felt called to, and I'm sure I'm called to more often than I obey. I'm going to try and be better about that. And I had no intention when I pulled. So but Yahshua called to me. Jesus or Yahshua. So that was the first card I pulled. And it says, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. Okay, so it's funny that that's the second time that that verse has come up, I think in 2 days. So clearly Spirit's calling out to increase your faith. And what I've learned is that it's not asking an outside source. It's increasing your faith in yourself and the source in you and the divinity in you, which leads me back to me embracing feminine energy. So we call ourselves divine feminines and we have divine masculines. What sources told me is that, what I'm hearing is that it's not a certain, like we say, collective. We say the collective because we're all a group of us, a collection of us, a collective of us is learning and going through the process at one time, the same time, and we're here to support one another. But every woman has divinity in her, so she's a divine feminine, and every man has divinity in them, and they're divine masculine. And it's about, what I'm hearing is, it's about this growth where we embrace our divinity, and that's how we become our divine feminine selves. And our feminine selves are so powerful and so masculine. sorry, so powerful, not masculine. We do have masculine in us, you know, and it's called the balance. But um, but if you're called to be more feminine, if you have this divine feminine energy in you, then your power is so great. And when you can tap into it, then you can move a mountain if you call to it. I'm working on that. So I think that we will enjoy this journey together. I will do another video on some exercises I learned to reconnect into my body and out of the head, because in the head you're in the masculine. When you get into your heart, you're in your feminine. And you can YouTube it. You can find many things that says how to get into your lower body, but I've had to adjust mine because I was so separated from abuse as a child, that especially sexual abuse as a child, that I completely separated from my body, and I demonized my body. My body caused people to sin against me. And, you know, I've forgiven myself for demonizing my body because, you know, their sin isn't my fault, is what I had to learn. And I'm back in me, and I'm allowing myself to appreciate the beauty that Yahshua, that source, made me. And that's what I hope for each and every one of you. So the cards I pulled, the second card was my oracle card, my moon oracle card, and said, step out of your comfort zone. And that's interesting because I want to say step into your comfort zone. Unless your comfort zone is hiding from your femininity. And in that sense, you step out of it. But I want to say that when you step into your comfort zone and you become familiar with it, the comfort of embracing your divine feminine energy is going to magnetize you, and you're going to love it. So I say step out of your comfort zone if that's what you're avoiding, like I used to. Get comfortable being in your body. Get comfortable knowing your body. Get comfortable with what it feels like to be touched. And you may have to touch yourself to do that. The second card I pulled was 10, the Will. In some cards it's called the Wheel of Fortune. This is called the Will. And as you see, it's women going through different stages of the moon life. And this is also so important in the divine feminine energy, because when you reattach to yourself, you do attach to the phases of the moon and earth. And you can appreciate, you know, we've been told to believe that our emotions are bad, but no, they're not. Our emotions are powerful. And so if you pay attention to what you feel and how you feel, you know, you can also see, like, how do you feel with each stage of the moon? What is your feminine cycle? Appreciate it. Pay attention to it. You know what? If you're in a quiet mode and you don't feel like you have the energy to share with the world, and you want to just stay home, you know, obey that. Listen to that. Because if you don't, you go out, then that's when you're going to be a bit cranky. And so that crankiness is because you're not listening to your inner cycle, and say that your cycle is telling you, your body is telling you, stay home today, rest, do some self-love, take a nice bath. Who cares what the world says? Because divinity, divine God made you this way, and he made you this way for a reason. Listen to him, or listen to source, however you want to refer to it. I have always called source God father. Not father, daddy, actually. I didn't have a great loving daddy, and I created him as daddy. And I've gone through in my spiritual journey, like, how do I relate? I'm really confused, but I've gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? He's still my father. He's still the maker of me. And when I feel that, I feel his love for me, and I decide that that is the way I want to relate to him. So I suggest, like, you don't have to call him by whatever name, source, energy, God, whatever, you can choose, how do you relate to the energy? How do you relate to source? How do you relate to universe even? I feel like that's also a beautiful way. I like thinking about it in universe terms too, because then I feel powerful knowing that you are part of the universe. You are a co-creator with the universe. Okay. So when I want to feel powerful, I think of it that way. When I want to feel loved, I think of it as daddy, my person that cares for me. You know, it's a choice. It's, you have your serenity to decide that. Okay, the second card I pulled was inspiration, and look how beautiful this card is. I do believe that the feminine energy is one of the strongest powers of feminine energy is inspiration. And I think you should meditate on this. Think about how feminine power inspires absolutely all creation. I want to end it there, actually. But I did pull a last card from another deck, and it was marriage. And we think about marriage and we're thinking about the feminine marrying the masculine. I'm saying, think about marriage as our own masculine thoughts and being in our head, marrying our heart, our feminine heart, and embodying it and marrying ourselves, you know, because that's the stage I'm at, is I'm going to marry myself. I'm going to love myself internally, completely, all the energies, and learn to marry the world as a true feminine power. Okay, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I hope that this has helped you. Leave a comment if you've come across this. I know I don't have a lot of followers. And I will come on more as I'm inspired and in obedience. Thank you.